Good morning. Today we'll be studying the third chapter of Hilchot Shevitat Yom Tov, and this chapter will deal with the preparing foods and the way one is permitted to prepare foods on Yom Tov. Two quick notes before we begin the chapter that we touched on in Perek Aleph. First, that Chachamim allowed melachot in regards to the tzorech achila or ochel nefesh. Only on Yom Tov, in contrast to obviously Shabbat. And these melachot are for preparing food on Yom Tov are only allowed to be done on Yom Tov if there is no detriment to the result if done previously. So, for example, if a food if you could have prepared a food before Yom Tov, and there would have been no detriment to the result if it was done on Yom Tov, then it would be allowed. However, if there would be a detriment, then it would be prohibited. If there would be a detriment to the result of the food if prepared prior to Yom Tov, it would be allowed to be made on Yom Tov. Perek Shelishi, Perek Gimal, Halacha Aleph. מי שהיה לו עפר מוכן או אפר שמותר לטלטלו הרי זה שוחט חיה ועוף ומכסה דמם. Anyone who had earth or dust prepared prior to Yom Tov, or earth that was allowed to be carried, as we talked about in the last halacha of the previous chapter, that if you had a shovel stuck in the ground and you had dry earth that came out with it, you may do kisui hadam with that, and you can carry that earth. So if you had this type of, again, this earth that was mukhan or earth that was permitted to be carried, you may slaughter a haya, an undomesticated animal, and a chicken, and do kisui hadam for that. Notice that Rambam does not mention a behema, as kisui hadam does not need to be done for a behema. However, if a person did not have dust or earth that was that you can use on Yom Tov, you may not slaughter. But if a person transgressed and did do shechita, you may not do kisui hadam until the evening. So too, a creature that we are in doubt whether it is considered a haya or a behema, and shohatinotah beyom tov. We do not do shechita, we don't slaughter it on Yom Tov. But if a person did do shechita, one may not cover its blood, do kisui hadam, until the night. Afilu haya lo afar mukhan o efer, shema yomar haroeh. Because if a person, even if a person has dust or earth that was prepared prior to Yom Tov, a bystander might come later and see that and assume that this creature that you slaughtered is a haya for sure, because you would only do kisui hadam on a haya, and if the bystander saw that you did kisui hadam on Yom Tov, for this creature that's in doubt, the bystander may come and allow a person to eat its halev, and the halev is certain fats of the animal, of the behema, that are prohibited to eat from Mishne Tora, but halev is allowed to be eaten. Halev of a haya is allowed to be eaten. So too, a person who did shechita on a haya or an of, an undomesticated animal or a chicken prior to Yom Tov, one may not do kisui hadam on Yom Tov, because this is an unnecessary tirha on Yom Tov, because it's something that you could have done prior to Yom Tov. Shahad behema haya va'of b'Yom Tov. Now notice how Rambam adds the behema here, in contrast to the previous clause that, again, kisui hadam does not need to be done for a behema. Shahat behema haya va'of b'Yom Tov in ta'arev damam lo yichaseh oto ad la'erev. If a person did shechita for a behema, a haya, and an off on Yom Tov, and their blood got mixed together, one may only do kisui hadam only in the evening. However, if he had dust that was prepared or ashes, and one can cover the blood in one shoveling motion, one may do so. הלכה ג' השוחט בהמה ביום טוב, מותר לו לתלוש צמר למקום הסכין בידו, ובלבד שלא יזיזנו ממקומו, אלא יישאר שם מסובך בשאר צמר הצוואר. A person who is slaughtering a behema on Yom Tov may pluck some wool by hand to clear a place for the knife to do shechita. And this is on the condition that you don't remove the wool. Rather, you leave the wool entangled in the rest of the wool on the behema's neck. However, in regards to a chicken, one may not pluck out the feathers from its neck because that's how it's ordinarily done. And we find that this person is being tolesh, plucking out feathers on Yom Tov. And this is, and the Magid Mishneh adds that this is something that you could have done prior to Yom Tov, and it's unnecessary exertion on your part to pluck out the feathers. הלכה ד' המפשיט אור הבהמה ביום טוב לא ימלחנו, שזה עיבוד הוא ונמצא עושה מלאכה שלא לצורך אכילה. A person who comes and wants to skin an animal on Yom Tov, a domesticated animal on Yom Tov, may not salt it because this is ibud. This is like tanning or curing it. And you're doing a melacha that has nothing to do with eating. And as I mentioned earlier, Chachamim only allowed melachot for the purposes of eating on Yom Tov. However, one may place the skin in a place that people walk. So, for example, a doorstep. So people would walk or trample on it, and the hide won't be lost, and you won't have any. You'll basically be wasted. And Chachamim only allowed this because of they didn't want a person to reduce their enjoyment or happiness on Yom Tov, and because you would hesitate and you would be prevented to do shechita if you knew that you wouldn't be able to use the hide. And as we mentioned numerous times back in the day, they would use every part of the animal, and the skin was something that would be used for leather. And if you knew that you wouldn't be able to use the skin, you may hesitate to do shechita in the first place, and you won't have fresh meat for Yom Tov. ומותר למנוח בשר לצלי על גבי האור ומערימים בדבר זה. And it is allowed to salt meat to be roasted on top of the hide. And one may be, I guess you could say, subtle, and you can be cunning in this way. כיצד? How so? מולח מעט בשר בחן ומעט בחן עד שימלח האור כולו. So you take some pieces of meat that you were going to roast, and you can place it all over the hide, and you salt this meat all over, and by doing so you also happen to salt the hide as well in the skin. הלכה ה' במה דברים אמורים במולח לצלי שאינו צריך מלח הרבה. When is this allowed? This is only allowed in regards to meat that was going to be roasted, that does not require a lot of meat, a lot of salt rather. Aval likdera asur limloach al ha'or. However, meat that was going to be boiled or cooked, one may not do this ha'arama of salting it on the hide. וכן אין מולחין את החלבים ואין מהפכין בהן ואין שוחטין אותן ברוח על גבי יתדות מפני שאין ראויים לאכילה. So too, one may not salt halavim, certain fats that are prohibited, and you may not stir it, and you may not stretch it out over pegs in the wind, because these halavim are prohibited to be eaten. When skinning an animal, one may not skin it legwise on Yom Tov. And we'll explain exactly what that means in a moment. What do we mean skin it legwise? When we're referring to this hargala, lehargil, it means the following: that you may not remove the skin of the animal from its leg so that the entire hide comes out whole, and so the hide doesn't rip. And this was something that was pretty difficult to be done. It was pretty hard to do. Because this results in a person overexerting themselves and exerting themselves unnecessarily on Yom Tov, and it has nothing to do with Yom Tov. וכן אסור לעשות בית יד בבשר, והוא שיעשה בסכין, שלא יעשה כדרך שהוא עושה בחול. So too, one may not make a hole in order to hang the meat. And this is only if it's done with a knife, in order for you not to do it as you may do it on a weekday, or ordinarily. ומותר לעשות סימן בבשר, and one may make a mark on the meat. When we're talking about here is in order for the purposes of a heker, so you may recognize the meat. For a case of basar shene'ela min ha'ayin, a meat that was that disappeared from your view, I guess you could say, that is prohibited to be eaten, because that meat may have been switched with non-kosher meat, as we'll see in Hilchot Ma'achalot Asurot Het, and basar shene'ela min ha'ayin, according to Harambam, is prohibited to be eaten. And the way for you to permit this is if you do a heker, and if you have the heker on the meat and it happened to disappear from view, or you happen to leave where the meat was, you may, and then the meat with your siman or with your heker was still there, you can eat the meat. Al-Hazayin. Molgin et harosh vet haraglaim umhavivin otan ba'ur. A person may scalp the head and feet of an animal in order to remove the hair, and burn the hair with a fire. However, you may not smear the scalp or the legs with lime or with dirt that would remove the hair, and you may not cut off the hair with scissors. וכן אין גוזזין את הירק בתספורת שלו, אבל מתקנים את האוכל שיש בו קוצים כגון קרנס ועכביות בתספורת. So too, it is prohibited to use scissors that are ordinarily used to cut or trim vegetables. However, one may trim foods that have thorns. So, for example, artichokes, or akaviyot are another type of artichoke that grow in the desert, and you can use scissors to remove these thorns. One may need a large piece of dough on Yom Tov, and when we say large, it's large enough that hafrashat challah would be required, and the amount for this is mag betzim bechomesh betzah, 43 betzim, and a fifth of a betzah, which is a pretty substantial amount of dough. And someone who needs dough prior to Yom Tov may not remove the piece required for challah on Yom Tov, as it is something that you could have done prior to Yom Tov. ואם לשה ביום טוב, מפריש ממנה חלה ונותנה לכהן. However, if dough was needed on Yom Tov, you may remove the piece for challah, and give it to the kohen on Yom Tov. ואם הייתה עיסה טמאה, או שנטמאת החלה, לא יבשל את החלה. And if the piece of dough became tameh, or the piece of challah became tameh, you may not bake it until it burns. שאין מבשלים ביום טוב אלא לאוכל, וזה לשרפה עומדת. And the cooking for Yom Tov is only permitted in order to be eaten, but this challah must be burned, and it obviously won't be eaten. וכן אין שורפין אותה ביום טוב, שאין שורפין קדשים שנטמאו ביום טוב. So too, it may not be burned on Yom Tov, because kadashim that became tameh may not be burned on Yom Tov. Shesrefat kadashim shenitmeu mitzvat aseh, because the burning of kadashim that became ritually impure is a mitzvat aseh. It's a positive prescription. Shne'emar, as it says, ba'esh yisaref, that you must burn it in the fire. Va'asiyat melacha she'enah letzorech achila b'chayotze bah mitzvat aseh v'lo ta'aseh. However, the doing of a melacha that was not for the purposes of eating on Yom Tov is forbidden both by a positive and negative prescription, as we talked about at the opening of these halachot. And the rule is that a positive prescription may not override a positive and negative prescription. So the positive prescription of burning the kadashim may not override the positive and negative prescription of not doing melacha that was not for the purposes of eating. Ketzad yaseba. So what does a person do with this teruma, with this hallah that became ritually impure? Yani hinna ada erev, you may leave it until the evening, and then you can burn it afterwards. Haya yom tov shel pesach. However, if the hag that we're talking about was pesach, that you kneaded the dough and became tameh, she'im yanihinna tahamitz. And if you leave it, it will rise and become hametz. Lo yafrish et ha'challah batzek, ela yofe et kol ha'isa teme'ah, ve'achar kach yafrish ha'challah lechem. You should not separate the challah while it is still dough. Rather, you should cook the entire piece of dough that was tameh, and after it was baked, you should bake the entire isa, the entire piece of dough, and after it was baked, you may remove the piece of challah from that bread, because the rule is in Hod Bikurim, as we'll see, Hod Bikurim Perek Vav, that you may do hafrashat challah from an already baked bread. Halacha Yod. Now we're going to talk about the following two halachot. We're going to speak about certain ovens and what you may and may not do in regards to Yom Tov. Enofin befurne hadasha. One may not cook in a new oven. Gezerah shema tipachet v'tafsid alechem v'yimana misimchat Yom Tov. As the oven may break and spoil the bread and prevent a person from enjoyment on Yom Tov. And gofrin tanur b'chiraim aval mechabeshin ha'efer shebahen. One may not rake an oven or stove on Yom Tov. However, you may tamp down the coals by hand. However, if it is impossible to bake or to roast on this fire unless you rake it, it is allowed. It is permitted to seal an oven in order to maintain its heat with mud or clay that are found on the banks of a river. And this is only allowed if the mud and clay was softened from before Yom Tov. Asur, however, to mix mud on Yom Tov is prohibited. One may knead ashes with water in order to seal the opening of an oven. Yod Aleph. תנור וחיריים חדשים, אין שכין אותן בשמן ביום טוב, ואין שתין אותן במטלית, ואין מפיגין אותן בצונן כדי לחסמן. A new oven or stove may not be anointed with oil. Back in the day, they would anoint stoves and ovens in order to preserve them. And one may not polish them with a rag, and one may not cool them down with cold water in order to harden them. However, if it was done to bake, if all of these things were done to bake, it is allowed. One may not make tiles extremely hot, so much so that the tiles become white, in order to roast or cook on them, because this hardens the tiles as well. One may one second. One may ignite fire to bake in an oven, and one may heat water in something called an antichi. An antichi was a bronze type of pot that they would have coals at the bottom, and they would have water on the top. And this would preserve the water for a substantial amount of time, and this would be allowed on Yom Tov. Halacha Yod Bet, and from now until the end of the chapter, we'll be speaking about different types of melachot that may or may not be done, and they have to do with gibun, with making cheese and grinding and crushing and separating different items like borer, as we talked about in Chut Shabbat. En osim gibina b'yom tov, she'im giben me'erev yom tov, en bazeh hisaron ta'am. One may not make cheese on Yom Tov, because if it would have been made prior to Yom Tov, there would not be a deterioration in taste. However, one may ground spices as one may ordinarily do, because if the spices were grounded prior to Yom Tov, the taste would deteriorate. However, salt may not be crushed on Yom Tov unless the grinder was tilted or it was crushed in a plate or something of this sort, in order for it to be done with a shinui. Because if salt was crushed prior to Yom Tov, lo yafug ta'amo, the taste would not change. And pepper may not be grinded with a pepper mill. However, they may be grinded with a type of other grinder, just like any other spice. And Chachamim allowed salt and pepper to be made with a shinoi, because these were things that were extremely common and necessary back in the day, and everyone would make these types of spices at their home and grind them on Yom Tov. And again, salt and pepper would require a shinui. Halacha Gima. אין קודשין את הריפות במכתשת גדולה, אבל קודשין במכתשת קטנה, שזהו שינוי שלה. Boiled wheat may not be grinded in a large grinder. However, it may be grinded in a small grinder, because this is considered its shinui. ובארץ ישראל אפילו בקטנה אסור, שהתבואה שלהן טובה היא, ואם קודשין אותה מערב יום טוב, אין בכך הפסד. However, in Israel, even in a small grinder would be prohibited, because the produce of Israel is a good quality produce, and if the produce would be grinded, if the wheat would be grinded prior to Yom Tov, the taste wouldn't deteriorate. So Hamim required you, if you wanted to have this boiled wheat, to crush it and grind it prior to Yom Tov in Israel. הלכה יודעת, הקמח, אף על פי שריקדו מערב יום טוב והסיר ממנו הסובין, אין מלח כדין אותו פעם שנייה ביום טוב, אלא אם כן נפל בתוכו צרור או קסם וכיוצא בהן. Flour, despite the fact that it may have been sifted prior to Yom Tov, and all of the bran was removed, one may not sift it on Yom Tov a second time, unless a rock or a small piece of wood fell into it. Ve'im shina mutar, however, if it was done in a way that isn't ordinarily done on a weekday, it is allowed. So, for example, a shinui for sifting would be if you would sift up with a sifter upside down, or if you would sift it on top of a table, or any other shinui of this sort. מוללים מלילות ומפרחים קטניות ביום טוב, ומנפח על יד בכל כוחו ואוכל, ואפילו בקנון או בתמחוי. One may rub parched grain or crumble bean pods on Yom Tov, and one may blow to remove the chaff, a handful at a time, and he can blow as hard as he can, and then he may eat it. And he may even blow it with using a plate or a straw basket. However, one may not use a sifter or a sieve, as this is the way it would typically be done on a weekday. And so too one may separate nuts or legumes on Yom Tov as they are on a plate or on one's lap, however, not with a sifter or tray or a sieve. Halakha Tet Zayin, when is this? When is this allowed? This is only allowed when the edible there is more edible substance than non-edible substance. However, if the unedible was more than the edible, one may simply take the edible and leave the unedible on the side. בברירת הפסולת מן האוכל יותר מטורח ברירת האוכל מן הפסולת, אבל בשהאוכל מרובה, בורר את האוכל ומניח את הפסולת. However, if it was more of a bother to remove the pisolet, the unedible, from the edible, more than it would be to remove the edible from the unedible, despite the fact that the edible is more than the unedible, one may remove the edible and leave the unedible, because it is allowed to so just to summarize this halakha, the separation of pisolet from ochel is allowed only on two conditions: when the ochel is a small amount, and when the Torah of the removing of the pisolet is less than the Torah of removing the ochel. However, in other cases, it is permitted to remove the ochel from the pisolet. Halakha Yod Zayin, final halakha. En mesaninin et ha'harda b'masnenet shelo. One may not filter mustard with its mustard strainer, because it looks like borer. However, one may place an egg in the mustard strainer. And the mustard would be sifted on its own. If a wine filter was suspended in position, one may pour wine into it on Yom Tov. However, a priori, one should not suspend a wine filter, so so that one does not do it how he would ordinarily do it on a weekday. ומערין ותולה את המשמרת לתלות בה רימונים, ותולה בה רימונים ואחר כך נותן לתוכה שמרים. However, one may act subtly and suspend the wine filter in order to drain pomegranates, and he may drain pomegranates and then he may drain wine after he does so.